Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to review the game last night between the Ottawa Senators and the Toronto Maple Leafs. The Sens, as we know, won the first meeting Friday night 5-3. Unfortunately, they did not have as good of an outcome last night, so let's get into the game. Okay, so coming into this game, we had to know that the Toronto Maple Leafs weren't going to be happy with their performance they had Friday night, and they had a much more inspired effort tonight. I think we knew a team of that caliber was going to come out and do what they do best, and then that's exactly what they did. They controlled the puck, they controlled the pace of play, they got shots on net, and as soon as the puck dropped, the Leafs were just all over the Sens. It looked a lot like the first period from Friday night, I should say. And Friday night, I could attribute it to that being, the Sens just being rusty, perhaps. But I don't really think you can make that excuse for last night's game. I think once you've played a game already, you've kind of shaken off that rust. And for Ottawa, I believe they did shake off the rust already. I just think Toronto was flat out the better team. They skated more. And despite the Leafs carrying the huge edge in play early on, it was Nick Paul who scored the first goal for the Ottawa Senators to get them up 1-0 at 10:55 into the first period, I should say. It was assisted by Zaitsev and Connor Brown. These guys all worked hard on that play. Zaitsev gets the puck through, or he takes a shot, it hits Nick Paul in the pants, it drops down and he hits it in with his stick. It's 1-0 Ottawa. Things are looking good despite the Sens not playing well, and you're thinking maybe that goal will go to the Sens' legs and get them forechecking and get their skating game going again. But unfortunately that was not the case. Toronto, that goal did not seem to faze them. They just kept coming at the Sens. Then Joe Thornton gets his first as a Maple Leaf. That's a big moment for him. The St. Thomas, Ontario native. Grew up a Leafs fan. He's pretty much a hometown boy, so that's huge for him. Like I said, to get a goal. That one was assisted by Mitch Marner and TJ Brody at 14-17 into the first period. And that's how the first period would end, 1-1. And I think after the first, I felt pretty fortunate for the Sens. The fact that it was tied at 1 still, when really it could have easily been 3 or 4-1 Toronto after that first period. And after a really poor first period by the Ottawa Senators, I was really hoping that, DJ Smith would give them some kind of inspirational speech in the locker room. They could work on some things and get better in the second period and come out just forechecking, skating, getting in Toronto's faces as far as giving them no space with the puck and stuff like that. But that was not the case at all. Toronto pretty much picked up where they were left off when the first period ended, and it only took a minute 10 into the second for them to get ahead in this game 2-1, as Mitch Marner, off a face-off win by Austin Matthews, would get the puck and rip it home. I believe it might have deflected off Goodbranson's skate. I think that did definitely help Marner's shot fool Matt Murray and go underneath his arm. It's one I would have liked to see Murray have, but because it went off Goodbranson in front, I guess you have to kind of let that slide a little bit, as it would have been a pretty tricky shot for him to stop. Austin Matthews gets the only assist, obviously, on that play, as he won the face-off straight to Marner, and Marner zipped it home for a 2-1 Toronto lead. And just all throughout that second period, the Leafs just didn't let their foot off the gas. I found after they got ahead 2-1 Friday night, in a much similar position that they were in last night, they let their foot off the gas and they kind of let Ottawa back into the game. Now, the Sens did work hard themselves to get back into the game, but I did think Toronto took them for granted a little bit. It certainly looks that way now, and seeing how the Leafs played in this game last night. They just kept coming at the Sens in waves. That Matthews, Marner, Thornton line just had the puck all night long. It felt like every time they were on the ice, it felt like, something really bad could happen for the Ottawa Senators. They were controlling the puck. The Sens just couldn't break out of their end. Toronto was just in their faces. They just swallowed them up with their skating game. And that's really a good look at how Sheldon Keefe and Kyle Dubas probably envisioned their team to look like at their best. And that'd be it for the second period. The Sens are down 2-1. Despite playing a really poor second period and a really poor 40 minutes in total. I believe they were outshot like 19-7 or something like that in the second period. But nonetheless, they are only down 1 goal with 20 minutes to play in the third, and they can easily get themselves back in this game. But the Sens' hopes of getting back in this game would take a hit early on, as they would take a penalty, and Austin Matthews would snipe one home on the power play, 2:42 into the third period, so they get another early goal in the period, much as they did in the second with Mitch Marner's goal. Matthews, it's always a victory seeming like when Ottawa holds this guy off the board, just because of how much he scored on them and tormented this team offensively over his 4.5 years or so in the league. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case tonight, as he did rip home a pretty nice shot past Matt Murray on the power play. Toronto had a lot of trickery on that play. Marner drew like two Senators players to him. They probably shouldn't have got drawn in, but nonetheless they did. And that left the most dangerous guy on the ice wide open. And Austin Matthews, anytime he's wide open, I mean, he's going to more than likely make your team pay for making that mistake. And this was really the perfect road game for Toronto. I mean, they just came out guns a-blazing, start to finish. I mean, this was a full-on domination by the Leafs. Without a doubt, the Sens didn't help themselves by not playing very good, and they made things look even worse than what it could have or what it should have been if had the Sens played a good game. But Toronto, we have to give credit where credit is due. They really played their game to a T. They checked well. They got good saves from Jack Campbell, even though he wasn't called upon all that much. And they just really gave the Senators nothing in the way of offense. Every rush chance the Sens looked like they were going to have, the Leaf forwards were back really hard on them and making sure they had no room. The D stood them up nicely, and just in total, the Sens really had nothing going on all game long. And then something pretty special happened for the Sens in a pretty dreary game, as at 11:44 into the third period, Tim Stützle would record his first ever NHL goal, as he would score an absolute beauty. The puck was like up in the air, and he just whacked it out of the air right clean past Jack Campbell. It was such a good goal. Even Jack Campbell, I believe, said after the game he wanted to shake Stützle's hand. I'm pretty sure that's the quote. But for Tim Stützle, I think we really got a glimpse of what kind of player he is on that play. Again, I thought he was quiet for most of this game. I think he had a really good shift on that shift that he scored the goal. And just before that goal even, we could see his playmaking ability, where he just absolutely snapped the pass over to Thomas Chabot. Chabot corrals that hard pass. He gets the shot through. It gets blocked. It goes up in the air, like I said. Stützle whacks it home. That's assisted by Thomas Chabot and Colin White. Sens are within one, and they have a chance to win this game, or tie it up at least, and maybe hopefully get a point out of it, despite having a really poor effort so far. But it was not meant to be, as the Toronto Maple Leafs would hang on and win. And I just want to mention, there's this penalty call near the end of the game on Tim Stützle, and on Jake, and he hit Jake Muzzin, and Jake Muzzin just prior to that cross-checked Stützle. And I get the refs not calling that. It's late in the game. You don't want to decide the game or help Ottawa get back into it with maybe, what would have been a bit of a weaker call at that juncture of the game. But then you don't go and call the Tim Stützle one on Jake Muzzin, which I think was even less of a penalty than what Muzzin did to Stützle just a few minutes prior to that, where Stützle was coming into the zone. He kind of pushed Muzzin a bit, but Muzzin almost looked like he lost his footing and fell into the boards. And sure, Stützle did help him out a bit, but that was a really weak call at a very crucial time in the game. The Sens did have enough time to pull the goalie, though, with just under a minute left after they killed that penalty off. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough time to get them to tie up the game. They did press. They had a good chance late. Stepan shot the puck over the net. But it just, like I said, wasn't meant to be tonight, and the Leafs hold on to win this one. Okay, I just want to say a couple of things, is that Josh Brown, again, I know I've been kind of hard on this guy, but I think rightfully so. He had a bit of a tough game tonight on the back end. It was mind-boggling for me that Christian Wolanin was the healthy scratch. I didn't mind the fact of Mike Riley coming in. I don't think he's as terrible as Sens fans make him out to be. But Josh Brown, that guy is just, he's got to sit out next game. There's no way you can put him back in. I think Christian Wolanin has to come in his place. And, I know I've been really hard on Brown, and I think rightfully so. Sens fans don't really want to seem to admit that Josh Brown, Erik Gudbranson maybe aren't the greatest players on the back end as far as defense goes. They're not very good with the puck. They have a tough time breaking it out. They need to get some guys who can move the puck back there to their forwards to get the Sens offense going, as we saw against a team that skates really well and forechecks well like Toronto. With Josh Brown, Erik Gudbranson back there, it was super tough for the Sens to break out and get anything in the way of offense going last night. And just all in all, I don't think you can really say there were too many guys that had a great game for Ottawa last night. A much heralded Tkachuk, Batherson, and Norris line was pretty darn quiet yesterday, as were most of the Sens players. I thought Stützle had a couple good dashes, but he was pretty quiet. Fortunately, he got his first NHL goal. Hopefully now he can just go out there and play, and he doesn't have to worry about that anymore. I just thought some of the Sens defense looked a little shaky, especially Gudbranson and Josh Brown. Like I mentioned, Ottawa's best player was by far Matt Murray. He looked pretty good yesterday. The Leafs had a lot of chances. They had the puck a lot. The shots were 40-19 in this game. It was just pure domination by Toronto. And Ottawa trying to play that more physical, beefier type of game. Just goes to show you that I think at the end of the day, the team with more speed and more skill does end up winning, as Toronto just pretty much skated the Sens into the ice last night. But guys, let me know what you think in the comment section below about this game. I think we can all agree that the Sens weren't very good yesterday, and I think we can also all agree that the Leafs really flexed their offensive muscles yesterday too, and showed the Ottawa Senators, that young Ottawa team, just how far they have to go to compete with some of the league's best teams out there. Let me know all that and more in the comment section below. Please like and subscribe and share this video, and I'll talk to you guys again soon, and thank you so much for watching.